The story I want to begin with is one that repeats itself far too often. It starts in a quiet kitchen or a softly lit bedroom, where a concerned spouse, desperate to help, turns to the internet for answers. She types in a few words, hoping to find a miracle for the man she loves. Something simple, something safe, something she can slip into his morning coffee without him ever knowing. A spoonful of powder, a dash of oil, a pinch of something exotic. It sounds harmless enough, even romantic in intent, but beneath that gesture lies a much deeper issue, one of misunderstanding, misplaced trust, and, at times, real danger. Because, while the internet promises miracles, the human body does not respond to shortcuts, and medicine does not work in whispers. This small but troubling act, secretly adding something to a partner's drink, reflects a growing trend in how people approach intimate health. It shows how misinformation, desperation, and good intentions can collide in dangerous ways. Beyond the obvious ethical breach of consent, the practice raises a critical medical issue: the growing number of myths about quick fixes for male sexual performance, particularly those involving coffee. Coffee, one of the world's most consumed beverages, has now become the vehicle for countless claims, some harmless, some hopeful, and others outright hazardous. Before we examine what people are stirring into their mugs each morning, it's important to look at the cup itself. For decades, coffee has been both praised and blamed for its effects on health. Some call it a stimulant for focus and energy, others accuse it of raising anxiety and heart rate. When it comes to sexual health, the opinions are equally divided. But science, as always, tells a more balanced story. Moderate coffee consumption, typically 2 to 3 cups a day, is generally safe for most adults and may, in fact, provide measurable benefits. Coffee is rich in antioxidants, compounds that protect the body from oxidative stress and inflammation. These two processes, oxidation and inflammation, play a significant role in the deterioration of blood vessels, hormone balance, and overall vitality. Coffee's antioxidants, particularly chlorogenic acid, help reduce these effects, preserving the elasticity of blood vessels and promoting healthy circulation. Then there's caffeine, the defining compound of coffee, and perhaps it's most misunderstood. Caffeine acts as a mild vasodilator, relaxing and widening blood vessels. Improved blood flow is crucial for cardiovascular health. And since erectile function is fundamentally a vascular event, anything that supports healthy circulation may indirectly support sexual health as well. Large-scale studies have shown that men who consume moderate amounts of caffeine daily are less likely to experience erectile difficulties, especially those who are overweight or have elevated blood pressure. The likely explanation lies in caffeine's impact on nitric oxide pathways, key biochemical routes that control how blood vessels expand and contract. However, there's a critical distinction to be made between support and solution. Coffee, for all its potential benefits, is not a treatment for erectile dysfunction. It can complement a healthy lifestyle, but it cannot correct the underlying causes of poor sexual performance. Relying on caffeine to fix what is often a complex mix of vascular, hormonal, and psychological factors is like patching a leaking pipe with a strip of tape. It might hold for a moment, but the real issue remains unresolved. In fact, for some individuals, too much coffee can worsen the very symptoms they hope to fix. Excess caffeine can elevate cortisol levels, increase anxiety, and interfere with sleep, 3 elements that directly undermine libido and erectile strength. The line between stimulation and stress is thin, and crossing it too often can leave the body more depleted than energized. Yet, the myths persist. The internet is filled with promises that certain substances, when mixed into coffee, can unlock hidden energy, virility, or desire. These claims often blend fragments of truth with layers of exaggeration, creating an illusion of scientific credibility. Let's examine some of the most common additions and separate the evidence from the illusion. One of the most popular is maca root, a powder derived from a Peruvian plant, long used in traditional medicine. It's marketed as a natural libido booster, often mixed into smoothies, teas, and increasingly, coffee. Some studies do suggest that maca may enhance sexual desire, particularly in individuals experiencing low libido due to stress or fatigue. However, it's important to clarify that these effects are mostly psychological and hormonal, not vascular. Maca does not increase testosterone, nor does it directly improve blood flow to the genitals. In essence, it may make one want sex more, but it doesn't necessarily help the body perform better. Furthermore, Maca can interfere with thyroid function in some individuals, particularly those already dealing with thyroid imbalances. What may appear as a harmless superfood could, in certain contexts, disrupt delicate hormonal pathways. Another trend that has gained viral attention is the so-called salt trick. Influencers and unlicensed health coaches advocate adding a pinch of saltafan, pink Himalayan, or Celtic salt to coffee, claiming it improves hydration and circulation. This claim is not only unfounded but also dangerous. High sodium intake is one of the leading contributors to hypertension, a condition that directly damages the blood vessels essential for erectile health. The very act of consuming excessive salt, even in small daily doses, can worsen the long-term vascular health needed for normal sexual function. The idea that salt improves blood flow is a profound misunderstanding of physiology. Salt constricts, not relaxes, the body's vascular system when overused. What feels like a quick pick-me-up can, over time, erode the foundation of cardiovascular health. Then come the more aggressive additions, the so-called herbal aphrodisiacs, like yohimbe, tonkat, ali, and horny goatweed. These substances are widely promoted as natural enhancers for testosterone and erection quality. What's often left unsaid is that they are potent, unregulated compounds that can produce dangerous side effects. Yohimbe, for example, acts as a strong stimulant, capable of causing spikes in heart rate, anxiety, and dangerously high blood pressure. Its active ingredient, yohimbein, can also interact negatively with prescription medications, leading to unpredictable results. Horny goatweed, while slightly milder, works by inhibiting an enzyme that breaks down nitric oxide, mimicking the mechanism of prescription erectile medications. The problem is that its potency, purity, and dosage vary wildly in commercial products, making it impossible to predict safety. These are not benign herbs, they are pharmacologically active substances that can send some men to the emergency room with palpitations, chest pain, or panic attacks at the same time. There are a few natural additions that hold genuine merit, ingredients supported by research, gentle in their effects, and safe when used appropriately. These are not instant fixes, but long-term allies in supporting vascular health and hormonal balance. One such ingredient is unsweetened cocoa. The humble cocoa bean contains flavonoids, powerful plant compounds that help protect and restore the endothelium, the thin lining of cells inside every blood vessel. This lining is responsible for producing nitric oxide, the molecule that signals blood vessels to relax and widen during sexual arousal. When the endothelium is damaged, nitric oxide production drops, and erections become weaker or inconsistent. Adding a teaspoon of pure, unsweetened cocoa to coffee introduces a steady stream of antioxidants that enhance nitric oxide synthesis, improving circulation naturally over time. Cocoa, unlike caffeine, works quietly, nourishing the very structures that determine blood flow and responsiveness. Another worthy addition is cinnamon, particularly Ceylon, or true cinnamon rather than the more common cassia variety. Cinnamon is a potent anti-inflammatory spice with well-documented benefits for metabolic health. Chronic inflammation and unstable blood sugar levels are two of the most destructive forces for male vitality. Both accelerate vascular damage and suppress testosterone production. Cinnamon helps moderate these effects by improving insulin sensitivity and lowering inflammatory markers. Men with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, a group at high risk for erectile dysfunction, may especially benefit from incorporating cinnamon into their diets. The spice also adds a subtle sweetness without sugar, making it a natural and healthy flavor enhancer for coffee. A third beneficial ingredient is ginger, one of the oldest medicinal plants known to humankind. Ginger's active compounds, particularly gingerol and shogol, have vasodilating properties that promote blood flow throughout the body. Unlike harsh stimulants, ginger achieves this gently, supporting circulation without overtaxing the nervous system. It also helps reduce oxidative stress, aids digestion, and lowers systemic inflammation, all of which contribute to better sexual health. A small pinch of powdered ginger or a slice of fresh ginger root in your coffee can provide a clean, sustained energy that feels markedly different from caffeine's jittery rush. Taken together, cocoa, cinnamon, and ginger offer something more profound than temporary stimulation. They nourish the systems that sustain long-term sexual health. None of them will produce an instant effect, but all of them work in harmony with the body's natural physiology. They are examples of how small, consistent choices can yield real, measurable benefits over time. Yet even these scientifically sound options come with an important caveat: context matters. No supplement or additive, however beneficial, can compensate for a poor lifestyle. Erectile dysfunction, when it appears, is rarely an isolated issue. It's often a symptom of deeper health concerns: hypertension, diabetes, hormonal imbalance, obesity, or even psychological strain. The blood vessels in the penis are among the smallest in the body, meaning they show the earliest signs of vascular disease. In many cases, erectile difficulties are not just a sexual problem, they are the body's early warning signal of cardiovascular trouble. That's why the most important conversation about sexual health doesn't begin with coffee or supplements, it begins with communication. The most damaging part of secretly adding something to a partner's drink isn't only the risk of adverse reactions, but the silence it creates. When partners stop talking about intimacy, health, and fear, they lose the opportunity for understanding and support. Erectile dysfunction is not a personal failure or a moral fluid, it is a medical condition that deserves medical attention. Addressing it requires trust, openness, and professional guidance, not secrecy and guesswork. For men, admitting vulnerability in this area can be profoundly difficult. Cultural expectations have long equated masculinity with performance, power, and control. But the truth is, the strongest men are not those who hide their struggles, they are the ones who seek help when something feels wrong. A consultation with a healthcare provider, especially a urologist or endocrinologist, can reveal underlying causes that no amount of coffee powder could ever fix. Blood tests can assess testosterone levels, blood sugar, cholesterol, and cardiovascular health, all of which play key roles in erectile function. In many cases, addressing these root causes transforms not only sexual performance but overall well-being. A man who improves his diet, reduces alcohol intake, exercises regularly, and manages stress often finds that his vitality, energy, and confidence naturally return. In this way, the pursuit of better sexual health becomes a path toward better health in every sense. It's also worth acknowledging the emotional aspect of this issue. Erectile difficulties can create tension, shame, and distance within relationships. When partners try to fix the problem in secret, it often deepens that divide. What begins as an act of love can easily become an act of mistrust. True intimacy requires transparency and compassion, not quiet manipulation. The most powerful ingredient you can add to anyone's coffee or life is honesty. So, what's the takeaway for those who genuinely wish to support themselves or their partners in this area? It's this: nature offers tools, not miracles. Coffee, in moderation, can be part of a healthy routine. Adding small amounts of cocoa, cinnamon, or ginger can further support cardiovascular and metabolic health. But no combination of ingredients will replace the foundations of wellness: balanced nutrition, physical activity, adequate sleep, emotional connection, and medical oversight. Real improvement comes from consistency, not concoctions. The modern world offers endless shortcuts, each one promising to outsmart biology. Yet, the truth remains humbling. The human body is not a machine to be hacked, but a living system to be cared for. Every cell, every vessel, every hormone operates in delicate balance. When we try to cheat that balance, even with good intentions, we risk far more than disappointment. Perhaps the story that began this discussion, the woman secretly adding something to her husband's coffee, should serve as a mirror for us all. It reflects how love can turn into fear, how care can turn into control, and how misinformation can distort even the kindest intentions. But it also reveals something else: the power of curiosity. That woman sought answers. She cared enough to try. What she needed, however, was not another internet myth, but real knowledge, the kind that empowers rather than deceives. If we can replace secrecy with conversation, superstition with science, and fear with understanding, then we can change the entire narrative of male sexual health. The conversation about what goes into your coffee should evolve into a conversation about what goes into your life, your habits, your stress levels, your relationships, and your choices. That is where the real transformation begins. So, before you reach for the next miracle ingredient or viral trend, pause for a moment. Ask yourself what your body truly needs, not what a headline promises, not what an influencer claims, but what science supports and what your doctor can verify. The solutions to the problems we fear most often lie not in exotic powders or secret tricks, but in the simple, sometimes difficult act of caring for ourselves with honesty, patience, and consistency. In the end, the best thing you can add to your coffee is awareness. Awareness of your health, of your choices, and of the incredible interconnectedness of your body and mind. Awareness that true strength is not measured by performance, but by the courage to face reality and to make decisions based on knowledge, not desperation. So, let the morning coffee be what it was always meant to be: a comfort, a ritual, a small joy. But let it also be a reminder: your health is not built on quick fixes. It is built on truth, discipline, and love, the kind that begins with yourself and extends, openly and respectfully, to those who share your life.